first of all, can you tell us a bit about how you grew up and also how you got started with modeling?
So I grew up about an hour and a half south from Sydney City in Australia. And I was like very low key growing up on like a beach town, never really had got like exposed to like meeting people in the city or whatever. So I didn't really like get the chance to even think about modeling. No one ever had approached me with it before I turned 18. And then I was in Byron Bay for like a New Year's holiday just after I finished high school. And this guy came up to me on the beach and was like, hey, you should really be working overseas, modeling, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as someone said overseas, I was just like, yeah, I was like, let's do it. And he just like took photos with his iPhone of my face, like the side shot and the front. And then like 2 days later, I had a phone call from this guy in New York saying that he wanted to bring me over for Fashion Week and was going to pay for my tickets and pay for my hotel. So of course I was like, yes, let's go. Not even really thinking about the job, but more just thinking about like the travel. And then that's how it all started. 1 week later, I was walking in New York Fashion Week.
Oh my goodness. So
Like 1 week from being on the beach. Yeah, it was so fast. Yeah.
have you ever thought about pursuing modeling as a career path before this, or was this kind of the first?
No, this was it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of had thought about fashion and like, because I used to sew some clothes when I was in Australia, like growing up, I used to sew. So I was kind of interested in fashion and design, but never modeling or never like, yeah.
Wow. So it happened it's fat like it wasn't a dream for you, it just kind of happened and
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
So what was the first brand that you worked with and what was that whole experience like?
Well, it's really funny experience because the first show that I walked for was Victoria Beckham.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and I remember the guy that flew me to New York, he had like a personal connection with the casting director. So it was like a very easy meet for me to like go straight there. And the funny thing was that my hair was literally down to my bum cheeks, like
Oh my
so
gosh.
long. And when I got there, they were like making me walk around in high heels, doing laps, like at like night, it was like 1 a.m. I was doing laps, blah, blah. Then the next day at the show, the hairstylist was trying to do my hair, and all the girls' hair has to look the same for the show. It has to look like cohesive. And he was trying, and then he was like, I can't do it. Like, I can't work with this girl's hair. So they got my ponytail and they just chopped it. Yeah,
Oh
at the show.
my gosh.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So that was kind of my first experience modeling. And I just like went from there. I just kind of said yes to every opportunity, every crazy thing that people wanted to do with me. I was always down and just exploring everything.
What would you say your craziest experience has been, if you can share?
So another hair story because it's just crazy. But I was with my agent and it was right before Fashion Week, and I was getting a lot of feedback as when I first started modeling that I was too pretty and like too girly and too pretty. And especially like at that time, it was when a lot of like androgynous girls were coming into fashion. And like, I mean, it was kind of always in fashion, but especially for Fashion Week, that was the feedback for me. So what we did was we bleached my eyebrows white, and literally he was smoking a cigarette and cutting my hair, cut all my hair off so I couldn't even tie it in a ponytail. It was like, it
Oh,
was off. It was like that. And
oh
like
my
bang, and dyed black.
God.
Dyed it black, bleached my eyebrows and cut all my hair off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. But then like straight after that, I walked for Celine. They were like, I was getting used for like their fit model before the show and everything. So it like worked out, but it was crazy.
So, another crazy experience that we're all going through is, the pandemic, COVID, and everything. How has
Mhm.
that affected your experience with modeling, whether that be shoots or shows, things like that?
Mhm. It's definitely changed a lot because I was based in New York before the pandemic, and then afterwards I moved to Los Angeles. So I think that it really affected my modeling jobs because a lot of clients weren't meeting new girls anymore. They were just using girls that they already knew from before, and so everything was really slow for me during the pandemic. But now I have to admit that I'm loving my job as a model during the pandemic because um, when I'm shooting, I'm the only one around that doesn't have to wear a mask. So it's kind of like, it feels like a bit surreal when you're working with like a bunch of, like a team full of 10 people and everybody has to be wearing masks, and then it kind of feels like I'm normal. But so it's nice, but it's also, yeah, you know, it's not nice for everyone who has to wear masks.
For sure. So what is one brand that you would love to work with in the future that you haven't already?
That's a really good question. I love, oh my gosh, that's a hard question. Brand that I would love to work for in the future. I think right now with where I'm at in my modeling career is I love having consistent clients that I work with regularly and who are just like great people. And so it's not really for me anymore about the brand per se, but it's more about like their photographer who's like part of their team and the clients that I work with. So I don't really have like a brands that I'm imagining working with anymore, but it's more about like the people and yeah, the experience that you have working for the brand. Yeah.
So while you aren't at shoots or working on projects, what do you like to do during your free time?
Nice. I love cooking. So I'm very passionate about healthy cooking. And since I had to obviously stay a certain shape and size and take care of myself, being a model, I've learned how to, you know, have fun with food and still create dishes that are super healthy and super tasteful. So that's what I'm passionate about.
Have you been able to kind of grow your cooking skills over the pandemic since we
Yes.
haven't been able to go out or anything?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. It's been a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite recipe that you like to cook or something that you recently have learned to make?
Yeah, I actually recently made these like vegan Snicker bars, which was super good with like dates and oats and cashews, and it tastes exactly like a Snickers. Like I'm never gonna eat a normal Snickers
Yeah.
again.
So, what do you think your biggest accomplishment has been with modeling so far?
I think walking for the Chanel Couture show was my biggest accomplishment, just because it was such a unique experience and just such beautiful garments. Like every single piece of clothing in that show was outstanding, and I got to work with Karl Lagerfeld, and I think that was probably one of the highlights of my career.
So, along with accomplishments, obviously come challenges. So, what would you say some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in the industry are?
Yeah, I think that there's like a lot of challenges that models are faced with that people don't really realize, because it's like the behind the scenes of the job, and the job is so glamorous. I know that there's been a lot of struggles with body image and healthy eating habits, but for me, the biggest struggle was living away from home, living in cities where you didn't know any people, you didn't speak the language, you had to get around and um, do everything at such a young age. I think that was the biggest struggle for me.
So, do you have any advice you would like to give to any aspiring models out there?
Yeah, I would love to tell any girls who are thinking about modeling, I would love to just remind them to have fun and to not take things too seriously, because I think it's very easy for criticism and judgment to you to take it personally when you're a model, because they're judging you in the way you look. So it's really hard to have fun at the same time and not take things too personally. But I would definitely recommend that every girl says yes to any opportunity, as well. As crazy as it sounds, like the more experience you have, I think the better.
All right, well, that was all that I had for today, but thank you so much
Amazing.
for your time.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.
You too. Have a great rest of your night.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Of course, bye.